Welcome to your favorite channel, where you'll learn everything you need to know to improve your health and lifestyle. Let's get started.
You've seen the term omega-3s pretty much everywhere, right? On food labels, in health news, it's all over the place. But what are these fats actually doing inside our bodies? Why is everyone, from doctors to nutritionists, so focused on them? Well, we're going to break it all down.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll cover the absolute basics, what omega-3s even are. Then we get to the really cool part, what they do for your brain and your heart. After that, we'll look at a super practical guide on where to find them, and we'll wrap it all up with the one thing you absolutely need to remember.
All right, let's start at square one. What exactly are we talking about when we say omega-3s?
Okay, the single most important word here is essential. And that's not just some marketing buzzword. It's a scientific fact. It means our bodies literally cannot make these fats from scratch. We have to get them from food. They are, quite simply, essential for survival.
Now, in the omega-3 family, there are three main players you need to know about. First, you've got ALA. Think of it as the parent molecule you get from plants like flax seeds and walnuts. Then you have EPA and DHA. The real powerhouse is found in fish and algae. Now, your body can try to turn that plant-based ALA into EPA and DHA, but honestly, it's terrible at it. The conversion rate is super low. So to get the biggest bang for your buck, you really want to get EPA and DHA directly from the source.
So now let's talk about how these fats are used to construct the most complex, incredible organ we have, our brain.
This is where it gets fascinating. Check out that word structural. DHA isn't just some fuel that passes through your brain. No, it's a core building block. It is physically part of the cell membranes in your brain and in your eyes. It's like the bricks and mortar that give your cells their shape and function.
And because it's a physical part of the structure, it has a huge impact on function. We see from research that getting enough omega-3s, especially DHA, helps your brain cells grow new connections. It makes the communication between your neurons smoother and faster. And that translates into real-world stuff like boosting your memory and even helping to protect your brain as you get older.
But the benefits absolutely do not stop with the brain. Omega-3s are also amazing protectors for the rest of your body, especially when it comes to fighting inflammation and keeping your heart healthy.
The best way to picture this is to think of it like a competition inside your body. You've got pro-inflammatory omega-6s and anti-inflammatory omega-3s, and they're both fighting to use the same enzymes. If your diet is rich in omega-3s, they win the race. They get converted into these amazing molecules that basically tell your body, okay, cool it, calm down. They help resolve inflammation.
And this isn't just a theory. Scientists can actually measure this stuff. Studies show that omega-3s directly lower the levels of specific inflammatory markers in the blood, things like IL-6 and TNF-alpha. These are the troublemakers behind a lot of chronic diseases, so bringing them down is a really big deal. And that power to fight inflammation has profound, life-saving consequences. I mean, just look at this quote from a massive review of the evidence. It found that getting enough of these long-chain omega-3s reduces the risk of dying from any cause, and specifically from heart attacks and strokes. That is a huge statement.
But wait, there's more for your heart. Beyond inflammation, one of the most proven, rock-solid benefits of omega-3s is their ability to lower your triglycerides. That's a type of fat in your blood, and you definitely don't want too much of it floating around. High levels are a major risk factor for heart disease, and omega-3s are fantastic at bringing them down.
Okay, so by now you're probably thinking, I need more of these. So the big question is, where do we get them? Let's dive into the best food sources. You've really got two main strategies here. For that foundational ALA, you can look to plant sources. We're talking flaxseed oil, chia seeds, walnuts, they're all packed with it. But for the heavy hitters, that direct dose of EPA and DHA, you want to turn to fatty cold water fish. Think salmon, herring, and even canned sardines.
So to put this into practice, a great target is eating fatty fish at least twice a week. If you're not a fish eater, no problem. You can go straight to the source with an algae-based supplement, because that's where the fish get their omega-3s in the first place. And one last tip, be gentle when you cook. These fats are delicate. Baking or steaming is way better than high-heat frying, which can actually destroy them.
All right, we've gone through the science, the benefits for the brain and heart, and where to find them. So what's the one big idea you should walk away with?
Here it is. The most important thing to understand is that omega-3s are not optional extras. They aren't just a nice-to-have supplement.
They are fundamental, non-negotiable building blocks that your body absolutely requires to build healthy cells and to run your most critical systems, especially your brain and your heart.
Which leaves us with a pretty interesting question to think about. If these fats are required components for our body to function properly, maybe we should stop thinking of them as a supplement. Maybe we should think of them more like a required software update for our body's operating system. So the real question is, are you keeping your system up to date?
Here are some tips to help you have a healthy and strong body and mind. Remember that we upload videos every day.
So, what if you could upgrade your own biology? Today, let's dive into the world of biohacking. You've probably heard the term thrown around, and you might be picturing some sci-fi stuff, right? But really, it's less about becoming a cyborg and more about small, smart changes to optimize your health. At its core, it's a hands-on approach, using simple habits and science to help you feel your absolute best. Okay, so where do you even start? Let's get into the foundational stuff that makes the biggest difference. And the single most powerful biohack of them all, you guessed it, optimizing your sleep. It's non-negotiable. In fact, here's a super simple routine you can literally follow tonight to massively improve your sleep. Next up, let's talk about using stress, but in a good way. It's called hormesis. Cold plunging, for example, can trigger a 200 to 300% spike in norepinephrine. Huge for mood. Okay, now for fueling your body. Because with biohacking, it's about when you eat, not just what. This can seriously improve your insulin sensitivity and kickstarts a critical process called autophagy. Think of this as your body's own spring cleaning. It clears out all that cellular junk linked to aging. Looking beyond diet, targeted supplements are becoming a huge deal. The focus is shifting to science-backed compounds. We're talking NAD+ precursors for energy, nootropics for your brain, and adaptogens for handling stress. And of course, technology is a massive player here. Wearables let us track our biology in real time. From sleep rings to glucose monitors, this data gives you the power to make personalized choices. And looking forward, things are getting even wilder. New tech is making health monitoring seamless. For instance, this mirror can check your blood pressure just by looking at your face. No cuff needed. Okay, but this is really important. Not all biohacks are created equal, and some carry real risks. Simple lifestyle changes are super low risk, but that experimental DIY stuff, that's extremely high risk. And remember, cold exposure can be dangerous if you have heart issues. Safety always comes first. Ultimately, biohacking is about taking control and using these tools to build a healthier, more resilient you. So, with all that in mind, what's the first small change you're gonna make?
If you found this video helpful, please subscribe and help me reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers so I can bring you better content. See you tomorrow with a new video.